So, and you took it to the field to test, you still have another set of data. So you don't need to do like an appendix type of thing that we do in projects, right? Where you take your figures to the end of the project. In this sense, you need to put them where it was actually carried out, at the point at which it was actually carried out, right? So that's what we're going to. I think that's all for that. But this is actually what I was looking for. Although this was a phone snap, looking like a phone snap to this. So moving, just a quick tip: if you want to take a screenshot, if you're on a Windows, I don't know if lower Windows, but Windows 10 and above, you do Windows Shift S. Gives you a sniping tool where you can actually take a screenshot. Right, so you can use that to take a screenshot. Windows Shift S. Right, so you get a clearer picture. Okay. Then if you're actually good in Excel, you can export your form and recreate all these data and have a very clean data. So in summary, yes, let me reduce the zoom. So so just moving forward, I'm going to, I think you guys put a lot of effort in this, and it actually showed in your empathy map and your persona, right? So I'm going to move to the other group that was working on that's a group working on let's start with this. All right, so I think color is one of the things we are going to talk about today. All right, so cool. So thank you for the summary, and the same way, okay, they listed the steps they use here, going to brainstorming, right? So I don't know if any one of you were we taught design thinking. Yes, we were, right? I think Commission did that. You did design thinking, right?
Yes.
All right. So part of when you're creating a case study, you might not need that here now in terms of your report, but you should also put the method you use in achieving those results, right? Remember, I showed that I introduced a couple of methods apart from design thinking. You have double diamond, you have elements of UX design, 5 elements UX design, something like that. But the widely most used one is design thinking, and basically because it's actually iterative and the like. So okay, all right. So this goes accordingly. User interview, and for user interview, how do you present your data? Also, it's okay to give a summary, but you should also have something like, okay, participant one said this, or participant two said this, or from the discussion of participant two, we picked out that this, right? So that can also, that can actually make you relate more, make people reading it relate more to the fact that you are talking to someone. So the way the brain actually listens to story or read story. When you are reading let me tell you one story, one very funny story. I read a crime book, a I've forgotten the title, but then when I was serving, I think I've told you guys my NYC story. So I had time to sit down and read novels, all those novels, right? So I was reading one crime book, and the guy has double life, like he lives double life. He's he's a hacker and a social engineer, and he is also a detective, right? So he has a double personality. And do you know the funny thing is a book? Oh, I was reading the book, and one day after the book, like some weeks later, I saw someone that looks like the guy. Then I was wondering, how can this guy look like? Then it dawned to me that actually while I was reading that book, my brain was actually painting a picture of the guy I was reading. Right. So you should also put that in mind that when you're writing, when you're telling a story, people's brain is actually interpreting those stories because the brain can't see words, it can only see pictures. So you say, if I tell you car, your mind has already seen a car. So your mind has already even painted the car the color it likes, right? So that's the power of storytelling. So in that way, when you are actually introducing them to the participants, they are already seeing you talking to a participant, and it keeps that emotional connection there, right? So moving forward, yeah, so this is quite okay. Put your data first, then the this so this card sorting, like having this like a mood board, mind what do you call it? Is mood board. It's mood board. So you can use something like Miro for this, create a future um ideation, right? Then come up with solutions to to what you're actually trying to solve. So I see you've actually sorted all this card into um how how they relate, right? Okay. Now the empathy map does the job. Could okay, this could be a little bit arranged better, but it does the job actually. So we're actually not looking at design yet, since we've not actually started any design tools, which will start today anyway. And also your persona needs a lot of work, not in terms of content. The content is nice, just placements, arrangements, and colors, basically colors. I think color is a very big issue here. Color and consistency. So when you're designing or when you're actually writing, presenting anything, if you look from the beginning of the year, you started with the color, and here we have another color, and here we have another color, but then it's fine. It's not really hard. Oh, somebody added LinkedIn as a competitor to a dating app. I Please unmute. What team is this?
Sandy,
Emerald. LinkedIn
networking
dating app.
app.
You said?
Networking.
Oh, network.
Networking.
Oh, okay. Because I know if you're gonna ask any girl, they will ask you, "Are you serious with your life? Are you really serious with your career?" All
So
right,
it's
cool.
networking.
All right, cool. Okay, networking. Okay. This is well detailed. All right. So, do you have any question? Let me just open the next one. Do you have any question regarding um? Do you have any question regarding the work you've done so far? All right, cool. Problem statements go. Problem statements go. Are you dropping a comment? Uh, okay, Christine, please just unmute your mic. I'm actually not on the screen.
Okay, I wanted to ask, can you please throw more light on the competitive edge analysis?
Okay, cool. So competitive analysis is actually carried out to know right? To actually see, okay, we are not the first person doing what we are doing, right? So who are the people actually doing it? Now there are two types of competitors. There are direct competitors and indirect competitors. Now your direct competitor is people that are actually doing what they are doing and targeting the same audience. While your indirect competitor is somebody doing maybe not what you are doing something else, but targeting the same audience, or doing the same thing and targeting a different audience. Now, an example would be um okay, a a vehicle manufacturer, right? Vehicle manufacturer, somebody producing what's the name of those small access bank car? What's the name of access bank's car? Kia. Kia, those Kia, those small Kia Picanto kind of thing, right? Do you know the car I'm saying? Let me show you
Yes,
so that we'll have it.
carry you.
Kia Rio, right? Okay. Kia Rio is the access bank car. If people don't even know access bank's car, most times if somebody is driving that car, they'll just ask you, do you work for access bank? Yeah, this is access bank's car. Wait, let me see. Let me see. I think access bank signed a this car. Now, if a manufacturer of this car now and a manufacturer of a what's the name of this? Say this. Manufacturer of this car and the manufacturer of these cars. Do you agree with me that these two people are doing the same thing, right? They are both of them are producing cars, but do they have the same audience? Are
No.
we together? No, right? Because the guys these people are selling this car to probably use the price of this car to fuel the car, right? So that's indirect competitors, right? We are doing the same thing, but we are targeting different people. Now, the person producing this car and or let's say Toyota Corolla and what is this? Let's say so a Toyota Corolla and a Honda Accord. Can you agree with me that somebody that can buy this can also buy this, right?
Yeah.
Now, those are direct competitors. We are serving the same audience with the same future, right? The same audience, the same future, the same products, rather, the same product. So also look at it. A Someone selling beans and someone selling bread, they are indirect competitors, right? Because they are serving the same audience but different products, right? But someone selling beans and someone selling rice, they're actually serving the same product, which is satisfying hunger, right? With how do I put this? Are they still direct? I think they are still indirect, right? They are still indirect. But a direct competitor basically would be a Peak Milk and a Three Crown. Direct competitors. A Gala and a Super Bite. Direct competitors, right? So when you are doing your competitive analysis, you are trying to look for those types of competitors. Are they actually direct? Are they? I think let me share one competitor analysis I did. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? So you need to look at what are we actually trying to look for? Are we looking at their website? Are we looking for their services, right? Um, Airline. All right, send it. While it loads up. So what competitive analysis can basically help you do is, very that's okay. All right. So this is a competitive analysis, right? A competitors analysis, competitors audit, anyone you can call it. So it's for an airline. So the airline is a local airline, right? And it's trying to go international. So in this competitor analysis, you see we are comparing the user experience of each competitor's app as a new and a returning customer. That's why I said your competitors analysis should have a goal. What are you actually checking for, right? So um, so since you are checking for the user experience on the app, most of the most of the how do I put it? Most of the checks would be on the app. So you see, we have a desktop experience, right? We have a There's the mobile part. Okay, the mobile is not here. So you need to know what you're actually checking for before you even start checking, right? So computer analysis is basically going to check what they're doing, how they're doing what they're doing, how does their website look like, what's the look and feel, stuff like that. Do you get that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
So any other question? Another question. So at the end of your competitors analysis, you need to give a summary. So I see most of the competitors analysis, we just have them. So you need to give a summary because if you are presenting this thing, the stakeholder might not have time to look at all this. It's very important to do them right, but the stakeholder might not have time to look at it. So you need to give a summary. And this is what a summary can look like. So this is a summary here. So this is just a summary. So instead of doing all this, reading all this, I can simply just come here and see, oh, okay, what are the quality, blah, 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 strengths, what's their strength, oh, what's their weakness, what are the opportunity we have, right? So you need to give a summary at the end of your analysis or your audit. Is that fine?
Yes, please.
All right. So moving
Then
forward.
sorry, I don't please sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I came in a bit late, so I didn't really hear what you said about the user persona and the empathy map for Ruby.
Ruby. Ruby was the first, right? Okay, I was saying what I say about it. I said the user persona is not consistent, right? So you can see these are like two different arrangement or templates, so to say. Now, no, I wasn't talking about the information carried in it. The information is quite okay, right? You know, we need to cover. You know, there are two types of research we do on our audience. There is the demography research and the psychography research, right? Like when I'm talking of audience, so your demography will be about what you have here, right? We get it's about what you have, like his name, where is he, uh
Okay.
yeah, stuff like that, like age, stuff. Then psychography will be all this type of research you are seeing. Where can you find them? What are they doing? What do they think? And something sort of my screen just went off. Okay,
Sorry.
so give me a second while I pull it back up. Okay. Sorry, we will experience Nigeria, right? My
Yeah,
light just went
struggling.
off. So I need to switch.
Okay. Spending that time, I just went through. Sorry, the other class where you guys presented, I was not around, so I'm just like seeing the presentation and kudos to you guys. You guys did amazing well. In fact, I'm surprised. I was not expecting that much of the design because we have not actually teaching you guys the design. I was expecting a document kind of thing, but that's very nice. That's very nice. Else, I would say well done. Nice job. One more thing is, I realize everybody's presentation is really wordy. Like you had a lot of words in your presentation. While you're presenting, you don't have all the time in the world. You have like because what you are trying to do is convince them. So while trying to convince them, you don't want them to be, you know, you don't want them to be 40 minutes on one page. You want, you know, breathe fast and then you move them along. You understand? So stuff like how you carried out your research and co. It is things you can those are things you can say with your mouth. There was one thing that I wrote brainstorming and then define brainstorming. It's you don't need that because well yeah the stakeholder or anybody you're presenting to already know that one way or the other you're going to carry out a method. So you just come to them and say, okay, the method I carried out is this, and this is what we came up with. And that was what Chike was trying to address the other time. So let us know, okay, you already did the interview, fine. What were the things you realized from the interview? That is the points they want to see. That's what you want to like show them. But all these things, this is your first attempt, and it's really nice. Well done, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So basically, like I said, you you don't want to bore people with trying to read too much things and thinking about reading safe, except the person's life depend on it. Nigeria people don't read. It's not top of Nigerians because I have not even dealt with first scarcity finish. Now start reading long documents. So try as much as possible, except you're actually designing for maybe a content text content based product, minimize words, right? But there are some designs that there's nothing you can do. You cannot minimize it. So, all right, so just moving forward. So this is Figma. Who has not used us? Who has not used Figma before? Let's come back here. Oh, I'm not presenting.
Yes, sir. We can see your screen.
Okay. I wonder why. All right. Okay. All right, hold on. I think I'm unable to present at the moment. I'm just going to drop off and join back. See if that solves it.
All right. Before um he gets back, how many of you are just like will just be newly introduced to Figma? If you've not used Figma before, ever, like you're just starting Figma. Let me see. Let me see those people. Who are our beginners? Okay, one, two, just two people. The rest of you guys are already pros. What are you guys doing here? What are you people doing here? You guys
I'm
are
a
already
beginner.
pro.
I'm not a pro. I'm a beginner.
You guys are already pro. Okay, we have theory. The rest are pros. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. You are faking it. Why do I feel like the last person that just raised up her hand is just trying to feel among because he's already a pro. All right, that would be nice. Let's give Chiki few minutes. Those of you that will just be joining with Figma, it would be nice to join this call with your system. So if you can, multitask at the time, you can always like go to Figma and then check some things. But if you're not the type that can multitask, it's the best to just listen, and then once the recording is sent, you can now practice. You understand? They work both ways. Anyhow, you feel works best for you. But for tonight, I'll just advise get your system so you don't feel left out. I think Chiki is back. Chiki, Chiki, are you back?
Yes, I
Yeah, I
am.
don't.
Sorry about that. We have Stephanie and Bukola. Do you have a question?
No, no. I asked who are the
Oh, okay.
our freshers. I just want to like introduce the Figma.
Okay.
So we have
Oh,
about
you've not used Figma before.
yep, they've not.
Okay. Okay. Cool. That's fine. All right. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So Figma is a design tool like every other design tool out there. So there are different types of design tool that can get the same job done. You have InVision, InVision Studio. You have everybody say they are the world's best design tool. Everybody is the world best actually. So we have Adobe XD. So it's also a UI design tool. We have Sketch. So Sketch is a premium tool. Not like all these tools I'm saying, you can even use free, but this Sketch, you have to pay. So Sketch We have Figma. We have Figma. Then we have Figma. So Figma is my own world best, right? Because Figma makes your life very easy, and any software or platform that is actively supported. When I mean supported, like we have 1,001 plugins to make our life easier, right? So Figma is actively supported. That's why it's my personal preference, not because it should be yours. So you can. Some people like XD a lot. Like I know people that would prefer to design anything on XD. So XD supports video, Figma doesn't. So basically, some people have personal preference, but my personal preference is Figma because one, it is highly collaborative. Two, it can make your life very easy because most things you need are already developed by third-party developers as plugins. So plugins are, look at it like an extension, a socket, right? You have your wall socket that has only those 3 pin, one hole, but you need to charge 7 things together. So a plugin is like that, your extension box that you plug to the main socket, and it gives you option to plug every other things, which is your light, your phone, your laptop charger, and everything together, right? So that's what a plugin is. So plugins are extensions for Figma, right? So over the years, Figma has come to be, it has actually come to stay, it has come to be one of the best design tool, and it's actively supported. So basically you can use Figma on a totally free account. You can actually, like, I know people that are senior designers that have not paid £1 for Figma before, right? But doesn't take away the fact of actually paying if you can or if you need to, right? Some people get a project that they build their Figma. If you are working on project basis now, some people build the price of Figma into their cost. So if this project is going to cost me it's going to take me 2 months, you build them 2 months of Figma Pro, right? So some people do that, but it's not totally needed. But then, like my manager used to say, if you are actually doing this work, like if this is the work you're doing, then paying for the tool that you're using to do this work is not a bad thing, right? So okay, let me sign out. Let me sign out. So for those that are new to Figma, let me sign out. So when you come to Figma, this is what you're going to see. It's the landing page of Figma, and it tells you what Figma is. Nothing great is designed alone. Like I said, it is highly collaborative. So they are trying to tell you that, oh, don't design anything good alone. You have to collaborate with people, right? So it's highly collaborative and blah, blah, blah. So if you are new to Figma, your first assignment today is to go to figma.com and click sign up, right? Sign up. So for me that already have an account, I'm just going to click login. So you sign up to Figma, and I'm going to log in with my Gmail. All right, so you sign up, put in the necessary details, and it brings you to this screen without this part. Wait, I have one. Hold on, please. Okay, so it brings you to this tool without without this part that has all files, that those files are under it. Okay. All right. So you don't have all these things here. So you see new design file, you see new Figjam file, you see import file, but you don't see all these things, all these other things. You will then see something like a template, right? So Figma has 3 segments in Figma. One is the design part, which is what we are going to be looking at. One is the whiteboarding section, which is what Figma calls Figjam. So Figjam is Figma's whiteboard. So a whiteboard is basically where you get to brainstorm. So I'm going to open a Figjam and for you to see. So Figjam is more like your brainstorming part where you get to do all those the thing you did in your after your survey, after your research, right? Where you have participant name. Okay, let's say this after the interview, have the participant name, what they said, participant 2, like that. So you can use Figjam to brainstorm, right? You can use Figjam to do a lot of things, and brainstorming is one of it. A lot of things actually. You can conduct your research on Figjam, like your interview. You can actually conduct it on Figjam. If you are on a paid version, it has a call feature. You can actually be on a live call while doing this. So you can use it to do a lot of things, but it's just a whiteboarding part of Figma. You can do sticky notes, you can do circles, you can write, you can do a lot of things, right? So that's Figjam. The second part is Figma itself. So for designing and prototyping, that is what we're going to be using. And the third part is the community. So the community is more like more like the networking part and the resource part here. Let me call it resource part of Figma. So the community is where you can ask questions, you can see other people's contributions, you can get inspirations also, you can add people, follow people, stuff like that. Now, this is one of the reasons why I like Figma, just because of this community, because this community gives me a lot of things that I need, right? So Figma community helps you to get extensions, which are the plugins I talk about, to your Figma. Now, going into Figma itself, which we are going to be doing a lot of. Let me see, did you drop that curriculum? Do we still have it on? Do we have it on the chat?
Yes, you should still do. I did get it.
All right, so if you are new to Figma, to go into your design tool, you just click new design file, right? But if you have already designed stuff, you'll see them here. If you have any design you've already opened before, you'll see them here. If you have something you've saved in your draft, you'll have your draft here. You'll see them in your draft. These are things that you actually started designing, but you've not pushed to a project. Yes, Stephanie.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, ma.
So I have a question.
I have an answer.
About the new design file.
Yeah.
Okay, for example, if you want to design,
Yeah.
then what you are designing, you made a mistake and you want to delete it. You want to delete it.
The mistake.
Yes. How will you delete it?
Or you want to delete the whole file or the mistake you made?
You want to delete the whole file. Let's assume that what you design, you now discover that you did not design it very well. So you want to delete the whole thing and start afresh. How do you delete it for it not to go to your file?
Okay, I'm going to give you Okay, let me see. Let me see. What can I delete? In fact, I don't have anything to delete. But let me just open something and delete it. Okay, let me. So now this one. What was this case study? I don't know. Okay, so let's assume I want to delete this one called untitled. Right? It's very simple. Just right click, click delete. Right click, delete. Right. So once you delete it, it lives there. Right. So if you're actually talking about what if you want to delete your mistake, which I don't know why you want to delete the whole file because you made a mistake after designing. But let's assume you want to delete the whole file. That's how you delete the whole file. And sometimes you delete the whole file when there's a NDA. Maybe you signed a contract with someone and they told you want to ship this design, you need to delete it. You need to delete in that sense. There are some contracts like that. There are some projects you work on. Maybe you worked on a government project and it must not even stay on your file on your computer. In fact, they will even give you a Figma account sometimes to work on. But let's assume you actually did something and you want to delete it, right? So, like I used to say, it's only God that will reward the person that invented Control Z, right? So you can always do a Control Z and go back, revert your mistake. You can delete the file. When we'll get deep into that when we're actually working with Figma. So going forward, there are 4 parts.
Thank you, sir.
Hope you got that. So you can
Yes,
either
sir.
use
Thank you,
Ctrl
sir.
Z or you can right click and delete the file. So there are 4 parts of Figma. Okay, there are 4 parts of Figma. So the first part that we'll talk about is this toolbar, the one on the top, right? The top bar. Now this top bar is divided into 3 sections, as you can see. One, I used to have one tool here. I can't find it. Let me see if I'll see it. It helps you to see where my mouse is. Problem is, I've even forgotten the name. So let me just move ahead. Tommy, are you on your laptop? All right, just give me a second. Let me see if I can see this tool. Right. Okay, let me move ahead. I think in the next part I will find it. So we have this top bar divided into 3. So one is this first on your left. I think it will be your left too. Yes, on your left, where my mouse is. Then the middle, then the right. So now in this middle is where you see the name of your project and where it is actually located. Is it in drafts? Is it in a project? So you can export from this place, you can duplicate, you can rename, you can move it to a project. You see this one is in draft. That means it is not saved in a project. So you can move it to a project. You can make it favorite, right? So that's what you do in this middle section. Most times you don't touch it. You just rename. Then the right section, right, is more like the design part of it, the right section, right? The toolbars where you the first main thing you see is your Figma menu, your main menu. In the menu, you have all these options, including plugin, accounts, logouts, and the likes, text, we are still going to be using some of them. Although most times you don't come here to actually use them because there are other tools and shortcuts to use them. So the next is the move tool. So move tool is simply used to move an object. Let me make it blue. So the move tool is used to move an object, and you can get the move tool if you are on anything. You can get the move tool by just pressing V. It's the move tool. The move tool, once you type V on your desktop, it moves to, it switches the tool to the move. The second one is the scale tool. So the scale tool help you to make things proportional, increased or reduced. So it's increased or reduced proportionally. That means if this guy is a perfect square, and make it 150, make this 150. So this is a perfect square, right? So if I'm using the scale tool, you see it's showing 150 by 150. If I make it bigger, it's going to show 292 by 292. No matter how I make it, drag it, it's going to be proportional. Now, if this thing peradventure is not the same, 150, let's say 100 by 200. This is 2:1, right? And I'm using the move tool. If I take this to 300, I'm going to get 300 by 150, right? Because it's moving it proportional, like 2:1. If I make it 3:1, let's say this is 300 and this is 100. By the time I take this to 600, it's going to be 600 by 200 because it is still 3:1. So unlike the move tool, now let me switch to the move tool. Unlike the move tool, I can actually drag independently. Like I can drag, make this guy smaller. I can make this guy smaller. So that's the difference between the scale and the move tool. So either scale it up or you use the move tool to reduce it, right? So the next tool is the frame, right? So the frame is used to create a container, right? A container where you are going to actually place your design. Now, the good thing about Figma is they've actually given us tools like, okay, we know that most of the designs are iPhone, mobile watch, social media, desktop, Android phone. So let us give you a pre-made template. So normally before you have to do this, you have to come to Google and start searching size of iPhone. Then you will now start imputing the size manually. But Figma now give us all those templates, all those pre-made presets, right? So if I want an iPhone 13 Pro Max, I just click it and it gives me the size of an iPhone 13 Pro Max. If I want the size, now this is the size of the screen of an iPhone 13 Pro Max, not the whole body. So if I want the size of an Android, I just click it and it gives me the size of an Android. If I want the size of an iPhone 11 Pro Max, same thing, it gives me the size of iPhone 11 Pro Max. And if I want a desktop, maybe I'm designing a website, I just come to desktop and pick a desktop frame, right? So all these are frames. Now, frames are where we actually design. So we design inside a frame, right? So inside here, we can now start designing something. Now, moving forward, we have okay, after the frame, we have the slides. So the slides, you might not end up using it for a long period of time, but the slides is used to select and export only a particular portion of your design, right? So if I want to export only half of this circle and half of this and this square, I'll just slice it like this, and you can see this export to only half of it is selected, right? Because that's where I'm slicing. That's what slice is for. So it's just used to export only a portion of your design, the selected portion. So if I make it bigger, use it, and the like. So that's how that works. So that slice. Then you have your shape tool. Then you have your shape tool. So your shape tool is basically used to do what the name calls it, shape, to draw shapes.
Sorry to drag you back. Sorry,
Yes,
what you say
please.
the slide is used for? I didn't get that part.
What did I say slides used for? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so I'll explain it just now. So your shape tool is used to draw shapes. So we have different types of shape: rectangle, line, arrow, blah blah blah, and image. Image is also considered as a shape in Figma, right? So you can draw a circle and make this red. You can draw a rectangle. Now coming back to what slice is used for, right? So let's say in this design now, I just want to take only a small part, like half of the part that has red and half of the parts that has this green. I don't want to take everything. I can use the slice tool to come and cut what I want to select, like what I want to export. So export means you basically want to save this portion as a file on your laptop. So if I come to this export now, I can see this portion, and I can export it as PNG, SVG, and co. So I can see that portion that I selected with slice. I can also change what I want to select, right? And you can see it's increasing on the preview of what I want to export. So that's you might not even use slice, right? So don't you understand now?
Yes, I understand. But a case whereby you want to cut something, like for example, now you have a circle and you're trying to get a what's the name? Like a diameter of a circle, a semicircle. So from a circle, I just want to have half of the portion of the circle while you're still working on your Figma. So what tool can you use to cut? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
You want to get half.
Yes. Like you need just half of it.
Like this.
Wow. Oh my god, what did you do? How? Yeah. That's wait. Sorry, how did you do it?
All right. So when you are on circle, you have this dot in the middle, right? So this dot controls quite a number of things. You can use this to create
So how do you get the
those
dot?
graphs you see. The dot is there. It's not me that put it. Once you hover on it, you see the dot. So just drag it down a bit, and you can actually control a lot of things about the circle, and control that donut thing, right? So
Wow. So is it also in the rectangle too, or just the circle?
it's the shape. It's depending on the shape. So it's the circle, but what you can control on, just like this also, what you can control on the rectangle is different, right? But you can basically adjust points. They are called nodes, so you can actually adjust it.
Thank you.
Right. So that being said, where was I? So this is a pen tool. We have pen tool and pencil. So starting with pencil is just used to write. So if you have there's what we call all those drawing pad, you can use the pencil tool to actually write, or if you are on Figma, you can use the pencil tool to actually write also. So you also have the pen. So the pen is used to draw a curved line, right? So how to draw a curved line, I use the pen tool, right? So I can make it 5. It's like just to draw a curved line. Right, so that's what the pencil is used for. You might not end up using it. Then you have the text tool. Text tool is basically used to write text. Right, so that's the text tool. All right, so we also have this. This is a new feature, but let's move to the hand tool. So the hand tool is used to pan. So panning means I have a rectangle here. I have a circle here. I have a star somewhere. And I want to start looking for them. So if I use this pan tool, I can simply just drag around the artboard and look for what I want to look for, right? But there is a simple method for that, which is just your space bar. So if you hold your space bar, it gives you the pan hand. You can see the hand changes once I click the space bar. So you can use that also to pan around. So that's for the hand. Then comment. Comment is when you're working on a collaborative team and you need to add, hey, Esther. So you can mention the person's name. Let me see if Tomison is here. It's not, say, Esther. I did not have commented on your design before.
You have.
I
I think my
don't know why your
mic
name is this your what's your email? Okay, then basically, Sha. So you can
Esther,
let me
ESTAR.
EST.
ESTAR.
Not coming out. But anyway, basically you can
Small.
just people's name and drop a comment for them, and they'll get a notification that someone dropped you a comment. Right. So comment is used when you're working in collaboration. Right. So that's what comment is used for. Now coming back to this is called the resource. So resource is basically a new feature where they say, okay, instead of you to be wasting your time coming out before to access community, you have to come back to the main homepage and go to the community where I showed you, or you go through plugins and access community. But they say, okay, instead of you to do that, you can actually get all those plugins from here instead of actually going to the community. All right, you can just search from here and get stuff. Now, the next part I'm going to talk about is the layer part. So this left bar, is it bar? This left side of the page, right? So it's called the layer panel, or I call it the layer panel. All right. So why is it layer panel? Why is it a layer? So you know what they call bricklayers, right? What does bricklayer do? When they say someone is a bricklayer, what do they do generally?
They lay bricks. They build.
Okay, they lay bricks. They put bricks on top of each other, right?
Yes.
So if you understand that, you understand what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say now. So they put bricks on top of each other. So that means at a point there's a brick that is at the bottom. If you add another one, there's a brick. You can see we have rectangle, we have ellipse on top of the rectangle because we added the rectangle before the ellipse, right? If we add a star, let's put a polygon. The polygon is on top of the ellipse and on top of the rectangle. If we add a star, the star is on top of the polygon, ellipse, and rectangle. Now, how does that come into play? Let me change the colors. This is very important because sometimes you people will look for your design and you will not see it. You'll be looking for what I draw this thing here. You'll be sure that yes, I can remember putting it. But where is it? So it's very important you pay attention to this. So as you can see, the ellipse is on top of the square, right? Are we together?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
All right, cool. Now, where is the triangle? How does the triangle appear today?
On top of the ellipse and the square.
On top of the ellipse and the square. The star, what about the star?
On top of the triangle, the ellipse, and the square.
Cool. So that is because in the layer panel, that is how they are arranged. So we can actually distort this layer by simply dragging this rectangle to the top. Right? So just like the arrangement of this layer, the rectangle is now on top of every other thing. Now the ellipse is down, right? So if you put it under the star, you will see the star because the star is on top of it. If you put it under the polygon, which is the triangle, you see the polygon and the star on top of it. If you put it under the ellipse, then to go back to being under all of them, right? The same way, if you put the polygon under the ellipse, you see that the ellipse is now on top of the polygon because they are in layer, just like how you lay your bricks. So one is on top of the other. So sometimes if you write a text, if you have a text that you write and say, hey, and you will start looking for it, that where is this text? Right? You start looking at where is this text? Meanwhile, let me make the text white. Meanwhile, the text is there, but you are not seeing it because it is hiding under something, right? So basically, that's one of the errors that you will encounter when you are just starting, and you will be wondering and this is one of the things that will make you to delete all your file, right? Another thing I would like to point out in this is also when you have a frame. When you have a frame, let's say an iPhone 13 frame, everything you design inside this frame, look at this rectangle now, is inside the frame. Can you see that on the left? Can you see this inside the frame?
Yes.
Now, at any point in time, okay, if you want to adjust something, right? Maybe adjusting, this is just common mistakes I'm telling you now. I'm telling you things that I suffered for so that you'll not suffer for it. So if you want to adjust something and you are dragging it with your move tool, now your mouse is still inside the frame. If you drag it outside like this, sometimes when you are creating something like a carousel, right? You want to do these steps that will go out, and your hand is still in, your mouse is still dragging the thing while inside the frame. You are safe, right? It is still inside the frame. You see how much I dragged it, right? I can even drag it to the tip. So far, this mouse is still inside the frame. I'm safe. But even if I drag it from here and my mouse moves outside the frame, that's taking it out of the frame. But you see it like this, you would think, oh, it's still in the frame. But your mouse has actually taken it out of the frame. So now we used to get common, I think was yesterday. Somebody had this error that I was looking for, saying when I want to export, I will not see the design because you actually designed outside the frame. Now, if I want to export this frame, if I want to export this frame, the only thing this frame is going to be seen is one rectangle. Meanwhile, there are two there, right? So to solve that, you just bring it back in. And once you select it, you have your two. So when you are dragging, ensure that your mouse doesn't drag outside. So the moment it drags outside, it takes it off, right? So the same way, inside your frame, the same rules apply inside your frame. So you see this guy is still outside. You have to bring it back in. So the same rule applies. You can bring this to the top, you can bring this to the bottom, and the likes. So now the third and most interesting part of the whole Figma is your design panel, right? Your design panel is used to manipulate the properties of whatever you are designing. It's just used to manipulate properties. Just put that in your mind, used to manipulate properties. That means if I select anything, let me even start from not selecting anything. If nothing is even on this artboard, so this part is called your artboard, right? If nothing is on it, your property is still showing you something, which is the background. That means I can change the background of my artboard. So most times you change the background, maybe you are working on a light. If you are working on a dark mode or in a dark screen, your color should be white or light. But if you are working on a white, maybe your app is white, you should have a colored background. So basically, Figma help you to put it in something around here that is not white and is not black. So in case you want to put a white on it, you will still see your white. If you put a black on it, you still see your black. So if you put a white, you'll see the difference. But if your background is actually white, you'll now be looking for where your frame is. Right, so that's that. So this design to
Well,
panel.
sorry, please. I didn't get to how you got to change the color of the frame.
Okay, so because nothing is selected, when you are not selecting anything, like I said, the design panel shows the properties of what is selected. But if nothing is selected, it's showing you the property of the artboard. So the artboard is the area in which we can actually design. This whole area is called the artboard. So if nothing is selected, you have the background property of the artboard. So you can change the background color. You see background here. You can change the color. And if you're in the color class, you know there are different types of ways to represent color. This is the X code of a color. This is the X code. So we are still going to talk a little bit about color, right? Hopefully, if my laptop doesn't go off. All right, so this is the color code. Now, if you actually have something selected, right? Say you have a rectangle, you are going to see all the properties of the rectangle on this right-hand side. Now, the first property you are seeing here is, okay, let's start from the first part. So this part is where a lot of you needs to, this part we are now, you guys need to pay attention. Now, if we have item like this, remember I always say things are not aligned. You guys don't align. I think a couple of people that have reached out with projects, most of the issue I used to see is alignment. Now, this first part is called alignment. That's this line that you're seeing here. They are called alignment. Now, alignment is, as the name implies, how do you put something in line with respect to something else? How do I put something in line with another thing? No, now, if I'm in a frame now, and I have this rectangle selected, I have an option to align left, align center, align right, align top, align vertical center, and align bottom. Now, what does this mean? This means, let me delete all these two. This means I can actually align it left of the frame. I can align it right of the frame. I can align it to the center of the frame. Now, this is the perfect center of the frame. I can align it to the bottom of the frame. I can align it to the top of the frame, and I can align it to the center. So this is when I say center, this is the center of the frame. Now, you can also simply get that when you are dragging. You can also get some alignments done, right? Now, if we have more than one of these, right? We have like 3, and I want them to be on the same line, right? To be arranged on a straight line. Let's say this is our straight line, and I want them to be arranged on this straight line. I can simply just select these 3 of them and click align left. So what happens here now is that it looks for the one that is most left. Like which one is actually on the left the most? Definitely, you can just unmute and go.
Sir, please, I want to know if this class is recording.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
So you can, if we look at, okay, which of these items is actually on the uttermost left, let's align ourselves to it. So these other ones just tell themselves, okay, let's align to that guy. That guy is on the left, right? And since they say we should align to the left, let's align to the left. Now, in the case where you want to click align right, if you look, which one is actually on the right? That's the first one, right? And if I click align right, they will pick themselves and align to the right. If I do align center, all of them will meet themselves in the middle. Right? So that's where alignment comes into play. So the same way we put it align center, they come center vertical, right? So they come to the center vertically. We do align top, they go to the top where that one is. We put align bottom, they come to the bottom where this one is. They'll just look at which one is the one at the uttermost end of what we are aligning. So that's where they will move to. Right. So that's alignment. Then the last one is just to space things in between. Right now, the spaces between these two things are not equal. This is 97, this is 177. So if I want it to be equal, I just select the 3 and do tidy up. By the time I do that, space is 107, 107. So that's what that bar is for. So next thing, we have the x-axis and the y-axis. So just like your graph, Mary, you can go ahead.
All right, please, can you repeat that spacing you make the date actually? I didn't get it.
The spacing.
The spacing.
All right, so what I'm saying is, if you have items arranged but are not equally spaced, right? Or you want to ensure that these 3 things have the same space, all you need to do is select all of them. And to select all of them, you hold down Shift and select, and come to this right hand and click. So you can see distribute horizontal space, vertical space, and tidy up. So tidy up will just ensure that all of them are in the same space, are in the same are spaced equally, rather. All of them are spaced equally. So if I do that, I'll have this one spaced 1, 2, 2, 1, and this one also spaced 1, 2, 1. Right. So that's what it does. It also works if things are arranged vertically also, horizontally. Right. So if I have these guys like this, let's reduce their size, and the space is not equal, I can select the 3 of them and click it and do distribute space. So it just have the same spacing. So it's basically for having uniform spacing between different items. Right. So now we have the x-axis and the y-axis, just like your graph. The x-axis is left to right, y-axis is top to bottom. Sorry, that didn't come out. Bottom to top. Let's not use top to bottom. You know why? So bottom to top. All right, so we can adjust you most likely will not use this, but can adjust the location of your elements, right, by just adjusting the x and y axis. Right, so basically that's how it works. If I put this on x of 0, no, not this. I put this on x of 0, it goes to the beginning of the frame. I put it on x of whatever the frame size is, which is the frame size is 926. I put it on x of 926. It goes to the, what's the frame size? Oh, this is the height. Frame size, the width is 45, 426. If I put on 426, goes to the end. Where is it? Right, goes to the end. the end of the frame, right? So that's just how that one works. Why the width, this W is width and height. You can use the width and height to control the width of your item and the height. The height is the other one, H. You can use it also to control. So this angle is called rotation. If I want it to rotate 45 degree, I can rotate it 90 degree. But if you also want to rotate this manually, once you come to the edge of anything, if the thing is selected, once you come to the edge, you can rotate it and you'll see it moving from the rotation part. And you can give it a border radius as the roundness of the square. You can reduce that from here also. Then we can also change colors, right? We can change layer pass-through. Pass-through means the opacity of the layer. Okay, ask your question, please.
Hi, I want to know what's the axis of the X and Y in objects created.
Like I said, you might not really use it, but it's just to show the location of the object on the artboard, right? It's showing the location of the object. Where is it located? So basically,
Okay.
that's just what it's showing. So
Okay,
you,
thank
at many points, you will not, like forever, you might not even need to use it, but just for you to know what it is. So the same way, so the properties you are going to be seeing here is going to be depending on what is actually selected. So like now, if I create a star, you see it has added some other properties. Like this, I can add the amount of stars I want. I can make it 8. I make it 10. I make it a spike, like that. So depending on the what is selected is the type of property you will see here, right? So
How did you make that spike?
I just gave it 40. So initially it was 5. So I just gave it 40 or 50. You can do 50, right? So if you count all these things one by one, you're going to get 50. So depending on what is selected, the same way if I select a polygon, polygon is the shape, or we call it triangle. So it has 3 sides. If I want it to have 9 sides, it becomes what? Octagon, right? Is it octagon?
It's not
Non-agon, 9
Octagon
sides.
is 8, yes. Octagon is 8. So if I want an octagon, I'll do 8. If I want a pentagon, I'll do 5. If I want a square, I'll do 4. This is a diamond, right? If I want my triangle back, I do 3, right? I can do 20 safe, right? So what's 20? 20 tagon. So you can do whatever I select is depending on what you're going to be seeing in this part. Right? Is that clear? So I think that's it. That's it.
You mentioned opacity, Abi. I didn't hear it. Hello?
Oh yeah, I did. So
At what point did we get that? I'm trying to find it. Can you hear me? I'm not hearing anything here. Are, are we still here?
yes,
Yes,
just
we
give
are.
me a second.
Yeah, yeah, so.
Okay, okay.
I had a call. Okay. So what was your question?
I said you mentioned opacity and I didn't get it as in where exactly it was.
All right. So this pass through, right? Let me give you a particular example. I'll give you this red and this blue. So now this pass through is more like the opacity of the layer. So if I should give it like 10, or 10 is too much, let's say 30 or 50. So you see, you are seeing part of the triangle, right? So that's what I mean by opacity. So that's what this pass through is for. So if it is on 100, the full color. So you can also change the opacity of an item from the color, right? If I also have it 50 here, oh, this layer pass through now. So let's assume these guys are grouped together. Let's give this back 100. These guys are grouped together. So we can create a group. Right? Let's assume they are grouped together, and there is another guy. Is it okay? Let me just create the other guy outside. Let's say there is this other guy that is a rectangle that these guys are sitting on top of. Right? And I want both of them to actually lose opacity for this guy in yellow. Let's make it yellow. So I want to see some part of the yellow in it. I'll just select the group and reduce the pass through of the whole group, right? Or the right, so we get to see some part of the yellow. But mind you, the colors individually of this item are still 100, like they are still 100%. Is the group, is the layer itself. So that's why it's called layer pass through. That means, remember, like I said, things are in layer. So we want to create a layer that can actually be a see-through, that someone can see through. So that's what this layer pass through is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I think that's it for me. Introduction to Figma. So let's quickly does anyone have the curriculum? I don't know if it was dropped.
Yeah, I have a question. So how do you
Please.
create an account and add people?
Okay. I'm coming. I'm trying to see if I can get that curriculum so I know what I'm supposed to touch now. Okay, insight synthesis. The two people that have not used Figma before, were you actively part of your group? Are we together? Wait, are they here? Are they still here?
Yes, I also rose my hand. Not using it like not not using it. It's not like for me. It's not like I've never really used it, but it's like a lot of things you're showing us now. I'm understanding it better. So that was one of the reasons why I raised up my hand then.
Okay.
For me, it's not like I've not used it before, but he was saying it means we are all pros, and I'm not really a pro. I'm just learning.
All right. Okay. So I was trying to see if we should just do, because I'm having wireframe here, so I'm trying to see what's left to do before we actually
We'll do the
okay.
wireframe.
So we've done empathy map, we've done design thinking, we've done user interview. Let me show you what I'm looking at, so we'll also be on the same page. Let me put it here. So we've done user design thinking, user interview, empathy map. So this insight synthesis, have we really done that? Okay, let's do that. We've done this, right?
I have a question with this persona creation. Okay. I know we did it in our groups, but I want to know, like, is there like a specific specific measurements, like maybe like this particular frame, a user persona should be created like frame. The ones I did, I know I just did it randomly. Like I don't know. Is there like maybe guide to it? Like this is the, like we have the desktop frame, I
Okay.
don't know if you understand my question, Sha.
Well, there is no frame to it. Like persona is, you can actually embed it as a picture. So a picture is something that you can scale to fit into your PowerPoint presentation, right? But just ensure that you are designing it legible, right? Like this guy now is a picture. I can drag it and make it bigger, right? So just
So it's
ensure that
not even compulsory to do it on Figma.
no. If it was compulsory to do it on Figma, we would have taught the Figma first.
Okay.
Not compulsory to do it on Figma. That's what Tomisin was saying. He wasn't expecting to see designs, right? I was expecting to see write-ups. You can do it on Miro, you can do it on anything, you can do it on PowerPoint. Figma just gives you more ability to control things. No, not much to do it on Figma. So
Thank you.
doing number 4, let's see, we'll do this on Sunday. So insight synthesis. So basically, how do we gather data from, how do we make informed decision from what you already researched about, right? So we're going to do that on Saturday. Sorry, we're going to do that on Saturday. Then user flow and sitemap we should touch on Sunday. User flow and sitemap. So you can read on user flow and sitemap. So we'll do this insight synthesis and decision mapping on Saturday. Then hopefully user flow and sitemap on Sunday. Then before we now get to the interesting part that people like, designing. So we are already on.
Wireframe is not here.
So wireframing. Okay,
Question.
wireframing is still part of design. Let's just leave it as part of design. UI design.
Okay.
But we'll still touch it. We'll definitely touch it. So
Question.
yeah, okay.
Okay, so I don't know if you mentioned this, maybe it was an oversight from my end, but did you talk about